Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a behavioral disorder characterized by an excessive inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity, and are presumed to be linked to dysfunctional of the frontal striatal cerebral circuits. MRI scans of ADHD patients have shown to have smaller frontal lobes, which is associated with greater attention problems and correlated with global functioning and CBCL anxiety depression scores. But the volumetric abnormalities seem to be age-dependent, as they are no longer detected after mid-adolescence. ADHD is treated with both stimulants and non-stimulants, but medication alone is not as effective as behavioral therapy and medication combined. Nearly 9.5% of children aged 4 to 14 are diagnosed with having ADHD. There is no single test to determine if a person has ADHD. A healthcare professional makes the diagnosis by comparing a person's pattern of behavior against a set of criteria established by the American Psychiatric Society. This criteria is highly subjective, and diagnoses are on the rise. I'm William Longbottom. Well, thanks once again for joining me on This is Science. Goodbye.
Welcome to Challenge Accepted, the game where the answer is just the beginning and the judges tells you what's right. I'm your host, Gordon Frost. Today, our challenge subject is ADHD and its effect on society and education. Now, let's meet our guests. We have joining us today Leon Wright from Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, British Columbia. Welcome, Leon, and how are you doing?
I'm great, Gordon. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And over here, we have our other consultant, Richard Young, a noted marketing consultant from Valeant Pharmaceutical. How are you, Richard?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Pleased to meet you both. Okay, as you know, I'll ask a question and the correct answer will get you a point. However, the other contestants get a chance to steal that point by challenging the answers. Are you ready?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Alright, starting with our first question. We're looking into the past, people, concerning the diagnosis of ADHD. In the Victorian era, ADHD symptoms, as are described today, were accredited to constitutional deficit and blank deposition.
It was considered a moral deficiency, Gordon.
That is correct. Richard, your rebuttal?
Unlike today, in which it is attributed to a chemical imbalance in the brain, society can be thankful that modern-day medicine has the answers.
Interesting that the symptoms are the same, but is it accredited to different sources?
I don't follow.
The problem with ADHD is its diagnosis. It relies on subjective symptoms, something as simple as not being able to sit in a chair for a couple hours. Someone doesn't conform to the prescriptions of society's institutions, you write them a prescription. Talk about power over the people. Ivan Ilyich would have had a field day with Adderall.
The judges have decided. Points. The end. Alright, moving on to the second question. The question is, the majority of ADHD prescriptions are for age 3 to 18, or is it for age 19 and older?
Children, Gordon. The answer is children. Children are the target. Children, Gordon. The answer is children. They just can't sit still.
Children want to move, but they have to sit in a desk and concentrate on this for hours. They have so much energy, of course they're going to fidget.
This goes far beyond fidgeting. This is a recognized psychological disorder. As of 2007, about 9.5% of children aged 4 to 17 have at one time been diagnosed with ADHD. Are you telling me that ADHD is not a serious social concern?
My concern is that if 10% of the population has the symptoms of ADHD, you have one hell of a market for your pharmaceuticals. Targeting people who don't conform, this is the economical benefit of standardized education. If a child does not mimic a machine, they are classified as having attention deficit disorders and given drug treatment to keep them from being a distraction in the classroom and at home.
Oh, and I suppose you think that not being able to concentrate and do their assigned work is not hard on the teacher and their parents.
Oh, so you're taking it into the schools now. Children are naturally rambunctious and inquisitive, but standardized education does not encourage student innovation. Instead, they want to mechanize student domination and information control. Now these drugs have been deemed the answer to excelling in school?
Studies show that these medicines help kids achieve better marks in school. Further, it is a recognized psychological disorder, and Ritalin is the recognized therapy for this disorder. You wouldn't expect a patient suffering from pneumonia to go without penicillin, would you?
Pneumonia is a life-threatening infection. This is a case of hyperactivity. The two are separate issues. Further, studies show that kids outgrow the physiological aspects of ADHD. We rely on heavy medications to stop kids from being kids. And you can't just take a child off Ritalin, especially if they've been medicated for longer than a year. The withdrawals can be equated with heroin. And these are children. This isn't okay. These are drugs with serious long-term side effects. Lifelong tics, inability to sleep, eating disorders, thoughts of suicide. And many of these side effects are not possible side effects, they are definite side effects.
That's ridiculous. All side effects are implied.
Oh, well, go check the wording on the FDA website concerning ADHD.
Judges have decided that points goes to Leon again. Well, now it's time for a short commercial break.
Is your child in constant motion? Does he or she talk incessantly? Or have trouble focusing and prefer to daydream? According to the National Institute of Mental Health, your child may have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, commonly known as ADHD. This childhood disorder often begins between the ages of 3 and 6 years old. Left untreated, ADHD can have serious consequences. The American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry quotes that a child may fall behind in school, have difficulties that interfere with friendships, and have conflicts with parents and others that possibly last a lifetime.
Welcome back to Challenge Accepted. Today we got Leanne sitting at 3 points. Trailing behind her is Richard with 1 point. We're ready for our next question. According to the American Center for Disease Control, are yearly diagnosis of ADHD increasing or decreasing?
They are increasing, Gordon.
That is correct. Okay, Leanne, time for your rebuttal.
With pleasure, Gordon. There are many reasons that ADHD diagnosis may be on the rise. First of all, ADHD is being overdiagnosed. The symptoms are vague. More often than not, the markers for ADHD could also describe a child that is active and creative.
But you aren't suggesting that ADHD is not a legitimate social issue.
No, but I am saying that it is overdiagnosed. And it has to do with a historic trend in our society as we become more and more industrialized. The skill set we require our students to become more and more static. Kids need to be able to sit and focus both in school and the job market. This leads to more diagnosis when kids are doing what they are naturally inclined to do. Play.
All the more reason to help these kids.
Not when these kids are doing what's only natural. The long-term side effects, not to mention the short-term depression that comes along with these therapies, far outweigh the short-term gains. Further, it is more often that the teacher is the first to notice these issues. Teacher, I suggest you put your kid on drugs.
And the judges have decided the points goes to Leanne. Well, at the break, the score is Leanne at 4 and Richard at 2. We'll be back after these messages.
I'm gonna have to write out all-nighters for the midterm tomorrow, and if I don't pass, I'll never get into the Ivy State, right away the representative Annika.
Come on, that's nothing. I've got to prepare for midterms, write lessons, practice for the debate competition, and work at a coffee shop.
There's gonna be something we can take to home.
Hey, check it out. All you need is 250. A single dose of Ritalin. Is there any more Ritalin?
Welcome back to Challenge Accepted, the debate trivial game where the truth is decided by our judges. Today we have Richard and Leanne. Let's take a look at the score. Leanne is leading by 4, and Richard is trailing by 2. If you get this next one, Leanne, the game is yours. Are we ready?
Yes.
By packing virtual lunches, donor can help sponsor Breakfast for Learning, a non-profit group established to maintain school lunch programs. Whom is its main sponsor?
Valeant Pharmaceuticals.
Oh, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Richard, for the steal.
Swiss Naturals, I believe, Gordon.
Swiss Naturals is a division of Valeant Pharmaceuticals, and therefore it is Valeant Pharmaceuticals that are sponsoring Breakfast for Change. A pharmaceutical company is investing money into educational programs.
Swiss Naturals is a subsidiary of Valeant Pharmaceuticals, but corporations help nonprofits all the time. It seems to me that your main disagreement is that Swiss Naturals is a subsidiary of a pharmaceutical company. You make a distant connection between the overdiagnosis of pharmaceuticals, in this case in schools, as the machinations of an evil corporation. The reality is simply this. Kids are sick. They need to feel better. These therapies help them feel better.
But Valeant has a vested interest in maintaining a connection with the schools. By sponsoring school lunches, Valeant is infiltrating the classroom. They're aligning themselves with parents and teachers.
Infiltrate classrooms. You talk about Swiss Naturals, or for that matter, Valeant Pharmaceuticals, as if they are the KGB. These medicines help thousands and thousands of students achieve better marks. It helps them prepare for secondary and post-secondary studies. Without these medicines, they would not be prepared for the next step.
That's something I don't dispute. I know many find relief in medication. But ADHD has become an epidemic. The blatant marketing towards teens and young students does not project an honest company looking out for the well-being of children. For goodness sake, the FDA publishes articles encouraging parents to self-diagnose their 3-year-old child with ADHD. In fact, you no longer even need to consult a professional. All you have to do is follow a checklist. If you have a certain number of the symptoms, you take the checklist to the clinic and receive your pills.
But that is the nature of modern medicine. You feel that you have a certain amount of symptoms, you go and see a medical professional, and they give you a diagnosis. That's how modern medicine works.
You've given yourself a diagnosis. But I think the educational system is responsible for this increase in ADHD cases. For that matter, would ADHD as it exists today, would it even be so if there wasn't a connection implied between academic achievement and behavior deficiency? Ivan Ilovich, again, would say that this is a result of our society trying to destroy the vernacular in favor for the norm. These kids are naturally playful and imaginative, and as I've said, this is natural.
Leanne is the winner. Congratulations. For your prize, you win a year's supply of vitamin from Swiss Natural.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Thanks for playing. See you next time. And welcome back to Challenge Ah.
Is it considered a moral deficiency?
Imbalance. Modern people.
A note marketing consultant from further. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep rolling.
Another report telling us how bad Ritalin is for kids. Public perception on our product is going down the toilet. And I got brass upstairs telling me that we need to fix it, and we need to fix it now. So I called this meeting here for us to discuss some solutions or ideas on how we fix our problem. Well, do we have any ideas? Thoughts?
Well, how about put Ritalin into a carbonated beverage?
Brilliant. Ritalin in a can. It can be just like Ritalin Red Bull.
Ritalin Red Bull. I was just talking to the VP of marketing at Red Bull, and you know what he was telling me? Public perception of Red Bull right now is that it is cocaine for kids. And you know why? Because they put taurine in a can. That idea is not going to work. Well, anything else?
Another brilliant one, alright? Listen
Better
to this.
be.
Watch. Ritalin doesn't have to be a form of pill. It can perhaps be in a form of a cartoon character. Peter Griffin, Bender, Donald Duck. Mickey Mouse. Who owns the right of Mickey Mouse?
What should this say?
Walt Disney. I'll phone them. I'll phone them right now, and we can work out a deal with them.
Mike Eisner is not going to go for this idea. We're not going to be able to Flintstone our way out of it. Come on, you people. You're from the most brilliant colleges in the country, and you can't come up with a simple solution to a very simple problem? No? Very well. Get out of here. You're all fired.
Wait, I got one here. Why don't we sponsor like a nutritional program for kids? One of the research I'm just doing right now is on the nutritional program called the Virtual Lunch.
Tell me more about this virtual lunch.
They provide lunch for kids in school and make sure they can get through all day in schools.
But a nutritional program associated with a school is not going to like having a pharmaceutical company sponsoring it.
Why don't we use one of our subsidiary, say like Swiss Natural?
Yes. Of course, Swiss Naturals, our vitamin division. We could get Ritalin associated with vitamins. Nobody balks at the idea of taking vitamin C for a cold. No one should balk at the idea of taking Ritalin for ADHD. And by proxy, we associate Valeant Pharmaceuticals with community development. It's a brilliant idea.